Good afternoon. Thank you so much for choosing the national broadcaster this lovely day, the 23rd of April 2023. My name is Sandra Kahunde. Happy to be here to serve you and to bring you updates. As far as the special edition is concerned, that is the weekly news roundup that comes your way every Sunday afternoon. We're coming to you live from Broadcast House and Nile Avenue. Now straight into our activities, starting with the head of state. President Yoweri Museveni was this weekend the chief mourner during the official funeral service for the late Permanent Secretary Office of the Prime Minister, Keith Muhakanizi. The president urged family members to carry on with the deceased's legacy.
They braved the rain and endured the cold to pay last respects to their fallen colleague in national service, Keith Muhakanizi. Former Bishop of North Kigezi Diocese, the Right Reverend Dr. Edward Muhima, was the main preacher during the funeral service held at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds in Kampala. These are some of the attributes that led the chief mourner, President Yoweri Museveni, to hold Muhakanizi in high esteem.
Muhakanizi was definitely a hard worker, because in my struggles I needed figures, and whenever I needed figures, Muhakanizi would be having all the figures. Now I didn't know that Muhakanizi was a zealot. You know what we call a zealot? A zealot, somebody who is committed something very deeply. Definitely him and Mutevile and Kasem were zealots of the IMF approach, for sure. There's no doubt about that. I have now come to know it from the wife and the girl, the daughter, about their football and so on, Liverpool. I didn't know that he had that character but I could see it. I said, but these young people, why do they only look at the IMF?
Museveni put Muhakanizi in the category of Emmanuel Mutevile and Chris Kasami, economists whose roles in restoring the economy remain exceptional to date.
The Muhakanizi group and Mutevile group rightly advised me against that minimum wage. Why? Because of the same logic. Things in the economy are determined by the market. You still have excess of labor, of manpower, compared to the jobs. If you artificially overprice the price of labor, you will undermine the growth of the economy. Let the economy grow. Let more investors come in, and as they come in, the labor will become short. If you get more factories, more hotels, more businesses, the labor will become scarce and the price will go up. And I was persuaded by that line, and that's how I have been able to resist the pressure of the labor unions to artificially put up the price of labor, even when you don't have enough jobs.
Museveni wants Ugandans and Muhakanizi's family to keep his legacy moving.
The modern societies are very delicate because of being shielded. They are not used to tough life. But when I saw the children there, these children are old, the Banyankore would say, Avereyanye tsuze. Avereyanye tsuze. Okunyetsa is when your children have grown up. And a child to grow up according to Banyankore is to be 16. If you are 16, they say you are a man. Now, when we are 18, 20, the Banyankore will say, if you are not a man now, you'll never be a man. Now, these children are grown up, so their mother is there, their uncles are there. They should be able to continue what Mhakanizi did.
His family spoke fondly of Keith Mhakanizi as a caring and hardworking person.
Before, he was this person immersed in his work. He's a workaholic. He was our workaholic, as you all know. And I would get scared sometimes whether my children would ever enjoy him, because work was above family to him.
My dad was an incredibly positive human being. He always believed things would work out and that there was a solution for every problem.
Others who related with him at personal level recounted their moments they shared with the deceased. Housing State Minister Persis Namganza is one of such people.
Of recent, when I was going through a lot of trials, and that time the Right Honourable Prime Minister invited me to her office. And that is the time Parliament was on my neck over issues which were not understandable. And when I had just entered the Right Honourable Prime Minister's office, she was there and she was telling me, you have to go to Parliament and apologize straight away. I don't know where Keith Mhakanizi came from. She phoned us when we had just started talking. And I was trying to tell the Right Honourable Prime Minister that I've done nothing. And Keith told me, hey, Princess, you're here. If you're here to seek guidance about apology, that's wrong. You've done nothing and you cannot be there. And the Prime Minister was there and it's like, why are you misleading? And the Keith was like, no, please. There is nothing she has done, so this is just misguidance.
Keith Mhakanizi's body was brought back to Uganda in the wee hours of Saturday morning after losing the battle to multiple organ failure at a hospital in Milan, Italy.
Keith was very confident. He exuded immense confidence and conviction in what he believed in and was able to articulate his beliefs candidly and boldly.
The renowned economist who served as Secretary to the Treasury died serving as Permanent Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister.
We have lost Keith at a time when the Office of the Prime Minister needed him most. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
Mhakanizi is survived by a wife and children and will be laid to rest at his home in Liantonde district this Sunday. Henry Okrut, UBC.
May his soul rest in eternal peace, and we shall give you an update later on at terminus hours of the day. Keep watching the national broadcaster. More this Sunday, President Museveni this week commissioned a first ever overhauled and upgraded Russian helicopter at Pro Heli Plant International Services Limited at Nakasongola Airbase in Nakasongola district. During the ceremony, President Museveni praised Russian leader Putin for stabilizing Russia and allowing cooperation with African countries as well as strengthening the country again following the collapse of the Soviet Union in the 1980s that had cut off all contacts with the African countries. The president also commended a managing director of NEC, Lieutenant Cheno Mujira, for the initiative to follow up on the project. The partnership with Pro Heli is described as that of common sense with a big demand in Uganda that has helicopters which need maintenance, overhaul and upgrading. President Museveni welcomed the support and supported ideas affronted by the CEO of Pro Heli to have the SUKOIs also overhauled and upgraded at the facility. Now, more updates regarding the head of state, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, this week donated 300 million Uganda shillings acquired in the court awards as defamatory damages to the NRM party. This was in a case that Daily Monitor Publications newspaper alleged that Museveni and his inner security details were vaccinated against COVID-19 using China's Sinovac vaccine. The money was delivered by the president's lawyers to the party secretariat on Thursday.
President Museveni had instructed his lawyers to sue Daily Monitor newspaper in 2021 after Daily Monitor defamed his personality and that of his inner security details under a screaming defamatory headline titled Museveni and his inner security details vaccinated against COVID-19 using China's Sinovac vaccine. This didn't go down well with the president despite his directive at the time that frontline health workers should be the first to be vaccinated.
His Excellency, of course, was not happy with that because it went contrary to what we know of him and his character and the statements that he made publicly. So he gave us instructions as lawyers to sue for defamation, which we did.
The absence of the substantive evidence to hold the fulcrum of the case in court, the paper developed a cold feet and the matter was settled out of the court with irreparable court award of Ugandan shillings 300 million to President Museveni.
Midway through the trial, Monitor newspaper requested that this suit is settled amicably between the parties, so they agreed to apologize and publish the apology, which they did.
With the payment of the court award, the president has donated the money to the NRM party. The Ugandan shillings 300 million lump sum pay was received by the party officials headed by the Secretary General Richard Odong. They pledged to use the money to set up party offices in Greater Luwero district.
We congratulate His Excellency the President for winning this battle, and that means anybody is free to go and challenge cases of defamation against him or her. And that tells you how transparent our legal systems are, that if the President can go to court and win a case, it speaks volumes to our system. So we thank the President through his lawyers, and we also congratulate the lawyers, and we appreciate this generous donation to the party.
We also thank the Secretary General and the entire team for choosing Luwero District as the beneficiary of this precedent-setting initiative. And I want also to commit on behalf of the Luwero District. We have already engaged with them, and the land is available, and we are ready to start as a party.
Philip Aguta for UBC News in Kampala.
President Yoweri Museveni this week announced that he will return the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 to Parliament to address few concerns regarding some of the clauses. The president who held Parliament for passing the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 wants the bill to cater for psychologically disoriented persons who would need rehabilitation. The president will next week meet the Parliament Legal Affairs Committee and Asma Basalirwa at the move of the bill to harmonize on the concerns raised before the bill is signed into law.
To confirm that the government is fully behind this.
On 21st March 2023, Parliament unanimously passed the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 to criminalize homosexuality in Uganda.
There's a need for a legislation to enhance offences relating to homosexuality.
In a session which was chaired by the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, the House passed the bill with stringent clauses penalizing homosexuality and related actions in Uganda.
A clause to be amended as proposed by the committee.
Hardly a month before the President could sign the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023, President Yoweri Museveni has met the National Resistance Movement caucus to further discussions on a few concerns. The President first hailed Parliament for what he described as a courageous move to reject pressure from the imperialists whom the President says have messed up the world for the last 600 years.
We must be patriotic If we are parasitic in mind of a parasite, there's no way you can fight. That's how you become a prostitute. Because you fear to sacrifice, you fear difficulties. Somebody says, I will give you money if you become a prostitute.
The president exhibited few gaps in the clauses of the anti-homosexuality bill, putting across the need to cater for psychologically disoriented persons. This was in agreement with what the Attorney General Chirowa Chiwanuka informed the president, that the past anti-homosexuality bill criminalizes even those who voluntarily come out to have practiced homosexuality and need to be helped.
The major point of departure is only on the aspect of rehabilitation. So the bill in principle as passed has been upheld.
Honorable Pendi said they are willing to bring it here to help those of our people who have got themselves into that area and they want to change. So they have some doctors and they have a system that helps to change those people to being normal again.
The president has agreed to sign the anti-homosexuality bill, but after harmonizing on the cited gaps. Next week, the Parliamentary Legal Affairs Committee and the mover of the bill, Asman Basalirwa, will have a separate meeting with the president to cement the gaps detected in the bill before it is signed into law.
The details may now come on Tuesday when that meeting is convened and that meeting agrees that it is here or here or here. But for now, in principle, anything to do with promotion, anything to do with recruitment, anything to do with publicizing under the laws of Uganda as passed by Parliament has been upheld. The only area is the area of rehabilitation. I think that is where we also want to have a law with a human face.
It should be recalled that President Yoweri Museveni earlier in March 2023, while addressing Parliament, requested to have more consultations about homosexuality practice. Daniel Mugoya, Susan Nawonga, UBC News.
Uganda Defence Forces Monitoring and Evaluation Team, headed by the force's Chief Political Commissar, Major General Henry Masiko, this week concluded inspecting construction works being done by the UPDF Engineering Brigade in the Eastern Sub-region. General Masiko's team was impressed by the progress of the works inspected in areas of Karamoja, Teso and Bugisu sub-regions.
Akakiiko akalondoola ekitongole ekizimbi mu ggye ly'eggwanga erya
More updates later on in our news hours of the day as you keep watching the national broadcaster. Now, the head of public service and secretary to cabinet, Lucy Nachobe, this weekend revealed that a move to restructure the office of the Prime Minister was in the pipeline before the death of the permanent secretary to OPM Keith Muhakanizi. Nachobe told mourners, including President Yoweri Museveni, that the late Muhakanizi foresaw a drastic scandal at OPM and had alerted her office before his demise.
As mourners attended an official funeral service for the late permanent secretary in the office of the Prime Minister, Keith Muhakanizi, information pertaining to the common iron sheets scandal did not miss.
Keith had seen that circus coming, and he had even been to my office a few months before this happened.
The head of public service and secretary to cabinet, Lucy Nachobe, did not wait for the information to be swept under the carpet.
And he came and he actually came accusing me of not inducting the ministers. He came saying, he used to call me my boss. My boss, did you induct the ministers? I told him, Keith, I did. only that at that time you were in Turkey, but the ministers were inducted. Then he told me one thing. I've been quarreling with them in today's top management. The ministers are everywhere. They are in stores, they are in procurement, they are in accounts, they are in HR, they are everywhere.
Nachobe reveals that the late Muhakanizi predicted a drastic scandal which would hit the OPM, resulting from misuse of government stores.
So, what do I do? I've come here to report myself, because if you hear anything, you know that I've disagreed with the ministers today. And he said, I've warned them, these stores are going to cause them problems. And indeed, I think like a month and a half passed, and this problem came. And actually, when the problem came, he called me and told me, didn't I predict so?
Lucy Nachobe then gave a green light that the late Keith Muhakanizi goes ahead to initiate a process to restructure the OPM.
I told him indeed that's true, because a number of scandals have been happening at that office. So we therefore agreed that when he comes back, he should write a cabinet memo proposing this restructuring of this office.
She asked the president to consider a perfect replacement to fit the shoes of the late PS Muhakanizi.
Because this office has a lot of challenges, and if you appoint a soft person, we shall continue with these challenges.
The Iron Sheets saga has since remained a dead piece of meat as top government officials and members of parliament are involved in the diversion of the sheets meant for Karamoja vulnerable communities.
We have lost case at a time when the office of the Prime Minister needed him most. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
The late Muhakanizi died of cancer from Italy, where he had been taken to receive further treatment. Daniel Mugoya, UBC News.
Updates. Former Vice President Dr. Wandera Specioza Kazibwe this week called for the establishment of a council to corruption-related issues in the country. Kazibwe, who was Uganda's first vice president, says that this honestly fuels corruption, adulteration of peace and moral decadency. This was during an exclusive interview with the UBC team.
The money we have now, if we used it efficiently, we wouldn't need to borrow.
Former Vice President Dr. Specioza Wandera Kazibwe says the mission to end corruption in the country has called for honest and a collective effort to stop corruption.
You find that people with the money seem to be the ones who are above the law. So they go around, they cause people to actually be treated as criminals.
The senior presidential advisor on population and health issues says the fight against corruption is a daunting challenge that can only be overcome with honesty and a patriotic spirit.
When you see things happening like this, is where you go back to the Constitution. How do you handle leaders who are corrupt and will not stand down? If you are accused and there is a charge put upon you for that act, recuse yourself from the position which is related to that act.
This was during an exclusive interview with Uganda Broadcasting Corporation news crew in Kampala, where the former VP blamed weak law enforcement, impunity and disrespect of the Constitution as some of the habits fueling corruption in the country.
Is where you catch the thief and you find them in the hole and you leave them free to hang around. And somebody has even taken back. That is enough evidence to show that you committed the act. Do you have the moral authority to remain minister? Some of them are saying they actually took them to their constituencies for public good. That is diversion, because that money was not voted for a church in your constituency.
The former vice president proposes for the establishment of a Senate and independent punitive body to identify and respond to any sign of corruption in accordance to the laws of the land.
Because it's like there's an impasse in the government now. We envisaged that situation. In the CA, you go to the Hansard. So this body will go to the Hansard and pull out all those views the Constituent Assembly Hansard. Really, we must have that dialogue as Uganda, non-partisan. In the parties, there is corruption. In the what, there is corruption. So you have a corrupt mind, corrupt body, corrupt thoughts. So when somebody comes to you and you know you are corrupt in one way, making a decision which is good for Ugandans, you even fear, because you are at gunpoint, that person will expose you.
Kaziwe's argument is based on the fact that President Yoweri Museveni, in his wisdom, is always committed to institute a result-oriented cabinet within which individuals later let him down.
That man we call our president is a good man, but we let him down. We the people who under the Constitution, he's ultimately accountable, but the Constitution gives him the powers to delegate to officials things to do. Do they do them? When they don't do them, what happens?
Kaziwe says Uganda is a God-fearing country which bases its leadership on the biblical teaching that seeks to get a corrupt-free nation.
Give us this day our daily bread. So why should I steal to secure tomorrow? How will I know I will be there tomorrow? Give us this day our daily bread. So I do my best today, and God will secure my tomorrow.
The news crew had sought for her views on a wide range of issues prevailing in the country.
The problem is with us, the Ugandans. A lot of knowledge, we don't give it to the people. A lot of knowledge about the law, we don't educate the people. Otherwise, the Constitution itself is a very beautiful document.
Thank you. Daniel Mugoya, Stephen Kalisia, UBC News.
Muslims in Uganda join millions around the world this week to celebrate Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan. The faithful gathered at the old Kampala National Mosque to offer prayers and celebrate with their loved ones. The Mufti of Uganda, Sheikh Ramadan Mubaje, led the prayers and urged Muslims to continue living in harmony with their non-Muslim brothers and sisters.
Thousands of Muslims thronged different mosques across the country to celebrate Eid al-Fitr to mark the end of Ramadan. At Old Kampala National Mosque, Eid prayers were led by His Eminence the Mufti of Uganda, Dr. Sheikh Shaban Ramadan Mubaje. During his sermon, Sheikh Mubaje appealed to the president to fasten the enactment of the anti-gay bill.
As Muslims, as religious leaders of different faiths, as human beings who know what is good and what is bad, we are eagerly waiting for His Excellency to sign that law. Otherwise, we are worried that Shaitan might be working around the clock to fail that law being signed into operation. It is our request that His Excellency answers the pleas and the prayers that he signs that bill into law.
Mubaje also took a swipe at the conflicting parties in the ongoing crisis in Sudan, urging them to resolve the conflict and avoid bloodshed.
We are deeply saddened and embarrassed by the situation which is taking place in the Sudan, in Khartoum. Muslim brothers who say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah are the ones killing each other. As we talk now, the whole city or more cities are in smoke. Bodies are falling. People are dying. They are not performing the idiots were doing. It is very bad.
Muslims were also urged to fast the 6 days of Sitatil in order to complete Ramadan in the right way.
We have started the month of Shawwal with the Eid al-Fitr prayers. We shall also fast 6 days of this month as recommended by our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And we prepare, if we have ability and capacity, to go in Mecca and fulfill the obligatory and fulfill the 5 pillars of Islam.
Congregants expressed their joy towards successful completion of the holy month of Ramadan.
And Alhamdulillah, we have benefited a lot from it. And may Allah reward us abundantly from the ibadat we have done.
You know, as this ceremony was, it was just so simple. Yeah. Yes. Allah has helped us and passed through the Saum, inshallah.
They can give to the Muslims out there and see they should always fast, they should always pray to Allah that they should get more blessings I mean.
Sada Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
The ICT Minister, Dr. Chris Baryomonsi, this week said that the ongoing investigations over the theft and diversion of the iron sheets has not affected cabinet proceedings. He says that the president has chaired cabinet meetings, but this issue has not been discussed. As Ivan Kahwa reports, Baryomonsi urges that the OPM departments and units need to be reviewed at whenever effective supervision.
There are at least 23 cabinet ministers and ministers of state who were involved in the diversion and alleged theft of iron sheets meant for the people of Karamoja. The aforementioned in the scandal remain part and parcel of cabinet meetings held weekly. Dr. Chris Baryomonsi, the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, says the scandal has not been discussed in cabinet and it has not affected the proceedings.
And you see the so-called panic in the cabinet, it is you creating it in the media, but there is no panic at all. Cabinet is sitting as normally as it ever sits. The ministers being investigated are still part of cabinet. They attend, and there is nothing strange in my view.
The president, in a letter dated 3rd April 2023, advised that those involved in the mismanagement of the iron sheets should return them or an equivalent value in money.
There are those, in my view, who innocently received the items and used them for the public good. But if you use them for private use, I think there would be questions hanging around that.
The minister acknowledges that the office of the Prime Minister houses many departments and units that need to be reviewed for effective monitoring.
Because like it has Ministry for Relief and Disaster Preparedness, which is a fully fledged ministry, but under office of Prime Minister, as a whole Ministry for General Duties. Then you have these affirmative programs. The Ministry for Karamoja, which is a fully-fledged ministry. Then the Royal Triangle. You have Teso Affairs, Bunyoro Affairs, Northern Uganda. So I think it is huge. Maybe government needs to look at how you could restructure the whole office of Prime Minister and probably separate implementation from coordination and monitoring.
Meanwhile, Ugandans took to social media space a campaign against the bad state of roads in Kampala. The minister says that highlighting problems using technology is okay if used responsibly.
But then how they use that information is where I would have a challenge. They should use that information to inform their leaders and for the leaders to act on that issue. For instance, in Kampala, if there are potholes, if there is garbage somewhere not being collected, or any other thing which is disturbing you, and you take a picture, why wouldn't you take it the MP? So we want you to raise it in Parliament. We are now budgeting. Why don't you put more money for Kampala?
On the other hand, government of Uganda is in touch with authorities and the embassy in Sudan after reported ceasefire, and should the situation require evacuation of Ugandans, it will be done. Ivan Kahua and Rogers Komagum, UBC News.
Moving on, Abim district residents are spending sleepless nights due to resurgence of suspected Karamojong warriors conducting surprise attacks on villages and communities on a daily basis. According to reports from Abim General Hospital, since the beginning of April, over 12 people were recorded with gun-pelted shots, 65 with bow and arrows, and 6 dead on referrals from the communities. In this report, the locals want security deployment multiplied across. Short of that, government relocates other people to other safe areas outside Karamoja.
Abim district is located in northern Karamoja, bordering Kotido district to the east, and Napak to the south, Agago to the west, and Otoke to southwest in Acholi. Abim, like Karinga district, are non-raiding districts in Karamoja sub-region, but are victims of insecurity caused by suspected cattle rustlers. Speaking in an interview, the natives here say Karamojangs have been committing atrocities in Abim for a long time, ranging from murder, raiding animals, raping women, and stealing food.
Disturbing us because of goats, cows, all everything. If you have gone to the garden, they will run, they will sleep.
We are not sleeping, and also we are not eating because of these warriors.
Alekari sub-county alone, in less than a month, 10 people have been attacked with bow and arrows, and 6 homesteads burnt to ashes.
He's actually still nursing a wound even in the hospital, in Abim hospital, has not yet been cured. That was shot by an arrow the other day. And then one woman was also abducted in the morning when she went to the garden the other day. They took her, moved with her the whole night until they left her behind some hill in another sub-county at around 3 a.m. Then she came back.
85 years Lucia Apeyok and 5 other family members of Olem Parish, Alerek sub-county, Abim district, survived death on Monday evening as warriors attacked them and set fire on their 2 grass-thatched huts.
Goats he had, out of 20 goats, we have managed to recover only 1.
22 years Angelo Oyolo, a resident of Nyakwe sub-county, is currently admitted at Abim General Hospital, explains how he survived death after suspected Karamojong warriors attacked him on his way from the garden.
When he continued moving, he was also surrounded by a number of warriors, about 5 of them, whereby one of them harrowed him on the chest. And when he was arrowed, we pulled the first arrow. Then again they added another one which entered deep and we could not remove.
These are few among the many security victims in the Abim district.
Groups that also still they take that advantage of the warriors. They masquerade, they are also warriors. They move after they have caused a security problem in an area.
But what really causes insecurity in Abim?
Abim are being actually affected by the people of J in Kotido. So after that intense disarmament of people by the army, they started running away from the villages and now hiding in mountains, in the caves and other places. Now Abim being a mountainous area, they started hiding within the hills of Abim.
In spite of the security threat, leaders want security deployment in affected villages and communities of Abim district enhanced, or considerations to relocate the affected victims to safer places outside Abim.
Commanders who are working with us in the division of Karamoja and the CEOs who are working in these areas of Karamoja to coordinate with us sincerely to secure the lives of the people.
The option is for the government to shift us away from Abim and to look for another land. where we can be secured with our properties and lives.
Reinforce the army. We need more army men on the ground. Number two, they should arm the local people, what I would call the retired soldiers and the police and so on, those who have been in security. At least they need a minimum of 3 guns per village.
We have enhanced deployments and patrols within Kiru and Abim town councils, include the black spots of Gotafoyo and Opopo. The Joint Security Forces have gone ahead to secure all major roads within Abim district to enhance movement and social service delivery.
According to reports from Abim General Hospital, since the beginning of this month, 12 people were recorded with gun-pelted bullet wounds, 65 with bow and arrows wounds, 6 dead on referrals from the communities. Other districts affected with insecurity from Karamojong cattle rustlers are Agago, Otuke, Katakwi, Kabela-Byong, Kwen, and Bulambuli.
Green Environment Promotion, a local conservationist organization operating in Rubanda district, this week launched the distribution of about 500 wheelchairs in the district of Kigezi sub-region to people living with disabilities. The move will assist PWDs in mobility and accessibility to other opportunities such as studies, workplaces, engagement in social and cultural activities, and services such as healthcare.
The district, a number of people living with disability have appreciated distribution of resources at the grassroots level. They said that due to their vulnerability, they have always had mobility challenges, limiting their access to some places such as hospitals, worshiping centers, marketplaces, among others. Rovina Hatuahiri, a 40 years old resident of Rusheje A, Karengere Parish, Muko sub-county in Rubanda district, says that she has never benefited from any government program.
Mazimanyeno ya nyamba munonga akagari no bunyine amukunyegera ndabanda bugana ubulemezi kuruga hanu kwinkana banayicire harukutu ndakole kintu chamani munonga kwinkano wenyine ntekateka yo kugira ngo gumwanya ngo rugemo ze kufuna ahantu harukutu haboneye kugira ngo tasha kutunga ubulemezi niyo program yinyine kandi niyo kugenda mu mesho ekintu chamani mgeno nyo manyati neko kuno musima kushamukama ni woraze kumusima ejakole.
Some of the other beneficiaries that received wheelchairs from the Green Environment Promotion say that they have encountered several challenges of accessibility.
Akagara akakubampa omwana aragumara sibamwara kazaniramo yabayine umuhwezi wo kumusindika kandi yabari kuza kwa caci cyaza kumwangwira ngenu mukama amumpere ubusinje n'ubuwezi bwinja guma tumukikeho
kastandi kalka kana zayi dazayi ubu nazo kushuma natoza na kirezi
aba tazire yo bumwe ko muntu wo kuza kuca ko bonda mushashurizo runako aze yacu bwarale bwarabase kuca rero bohevo barabarafungo tufungo twashenje bafumbaro kamwe tubiri tushatu bahise 10 atuguze shirinjigana.
The president and founder of Green Environment Promotion, Evelyn Nisima Kifunda, says that they have been working with local communities for over 15 years now, championing sustainable development, promoting every category of people. Kikafunda adds that she has launched the distribution of 150 wheelchairs to identify families with people with disabilities in Kigezi so as to enhance their capability to prosper.
In our programs, we have health as a component, and that's why you see most of the families we did visit, the women are trying to be tidy and clean in their small space, in their capacity, because we do believe for you to live a longer life, better life, you must live in a tidy place, be healthy and clean. And so we have several programs that come along with crafts making, with working with these women, empowering women, education. Definitely we champion education. Most of these people win bike rides from them. They are able to take their kids to school, and sometimes there are people who are unable to pay for school fees.
Uganda Bureau of Statistics census report indicated that 12.4% of Ugandan population lives with some form of disability, implying that approximately 4.5 million Ugandans are persons with disability, hence a development concern. Edwin Yachwara for UBC News.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me, and as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sawuti 116.
Iwakato, this is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes. Now, the center.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial *100 *1#. Select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, under the auspices of the East African Community, will host the 10th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2023 from the 9th to the 11th of May 2023 at the Kampala Serena Hotel in Uganda. Take full advantage of the investment opportunities in the East African region's vibrant oil and gas sector. To find out more on how to sponsor, exhibit, or attend the 10th EAPCE 23, visit www.eapce23.eac.int.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Bang Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava. Best group is I teach you. But I'm going to put them squad because of the cover is very far. Is you serious? It's just you. What? Yeah? You stay put on it. Add kilometers to your meeting. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you.
Okakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako, n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello?
Hello?
This is Kasozi. How can I help you? Hey, Kasozi, my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for. Campus? Really? Hey! You don't remember me? Okay, so how can I help you? I'm stuck in Gulu making millions and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number and you send it to her chap. My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die. What? Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera, refrain from unnecessary engagements with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Techno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256GB storage, G88 gaming processor, and a strong battery to last the whole day. Haha! Towakana.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3GB from Airtel and 100% bonus on weekly and monthly bundles every month for 3 months. So you can stay connected to a a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data. The new Spark 10 is available in all selected Techno shops countrywide. Airtel, the smartphone network in partnership with Techno. Stop at nothing.
Welcome back. Good to know you're watching and following now. On two business updates this Sunday. Farmers in Kabale district and their farmers circle this week they decried the continuous losses attributed to vagaries of nature. Farmers said that due to the current change in seasons, they are at times going through difficulty to repay the loans. This was during the 19th annual general meeting of Nyabyumba Farmers Saving and Credit Cooperative held at the circle headquarters in Kamuganguza sub-county, Kabale district.
The General Manager, Nyabyumba Farmers Circle in Kabale District, Ambrose Akankwasa, says that defaulting has become rampant across many financial institutions due to the habit of multiple borrowing. He said that in a situation where people acquire loans from different institutions, at times they find it hard to pay back.
Another thing is maybe lack of participation and teamwork within their families. We have like here a group of family loans, but at the end of the day you find that a spouse is not willing to contribute to the colleague. So we find it very hard for them to pay.
Akankwasa said since Nyabyumba Circle is dominated by mostly farmers, they encounter challenges due to climate change effects.
And this has reduced their household income, that finally gradually reduces their capacity to pay the loan that we give them. Most of them, they get loans like agriculture loan to invest in the agriculture sector, but when they receive a lot of rainfall or a lot of sunshine, the yield becomes low, and this will make them unable to clear our loans in time. And even others, they surrender the securities to us that we sell them.
The chairperson LC3 for Kitumba sub-county, David Muhereza, says that natural calamities have hindered farmers since seasons are hard to predict these days.
For example, when I had planted beans anticipating to get some, let's say, 10 bags of beans, because of an expected rains that comes heavily and destroy the plantations. Sometimes farmers have failed to return back the monies borrowed from the circles because of the effect of heavy rainfall, which comes in unexpected hours and time.
But sometimes a person can get money from the circle, go to enjoy pork, go to enjoy other things, or else buy a piece of land. And you remember that when you buy a piece of land, you don't have any interest put on the money that you took. So you end up letting the circle down, yet you have already taken the money.
The board chairperson for Nyabyumba Farmers Circle, William Muyambi, says that some of the members intentionally default. Muyambi adds that the circle has been lenient to some of the defaulters, but this is highly affecting their operations.
Business turi gukora turi no buzare buhango na ba members umwe no bumwe ba ebigwerereza byabaho abo kubandika intwatiro mu gihugu ico cyaro tuzakora miliyoni 3 kandi ka loan ya agriculture neberi tuhereza period yenyezi mukaga ngenu twashanga nkemisiri efiro mu gihugu mulingo ikiyanenda kutunga amatashi tungamo nija ahereze ripota mu office tumwongeze yenyaka yo kuzishasha.
While presiding over the circle's annual general meeting, City Lawyer and Chief Executive Officer, Philip Associated Advocates, Eliab Natrinda, cautioned leaders and members of saving groups, associations and circles to be financially disciplined and desist from vices of defaulting and misuse of funds whenever they borrow money. In his speech that was delivered by his representative, Edgar Mshemererwa, Natrinda asked residents to shun the habit of defaulting, saying that this will bring down the circle's financial strength.
And it brings down the members themselves, because if you default today, be rest assured that when you come back tomorrow, no one will be near you. So as you take that loan, please bear in mind that you must do whatever it takes and bring that money back.
Nyabyumba Farmers Sacco started in 2004 and was registered in 2006 as a farmers initiative with 60 members. Now, the Sacco has 2,514 members with branches all over the districts of Kigezi.
We really do appreciate you for watching and following updates from the national broadcaster. Keep watching. More news updates will be coming later on the timely news hours of the day. My name is Sandra Kahunde. Wish you a blessed Sunday evening and of course a fruitful week ahead. From the entire team behind the scene, God bless you.